here is the all-new Hyundai Tucson. It's a car which doesn't need any introduction because the Tucson has been the flagship SUV from Hyundai for a long time, and this one is going to take the game further away from rivals, especially with the way it looks. If the earlier version of the car was all round and square, this one is sharp and it definitely has a lot of angles to it. Looks very unique as well as very stylish on the outside. Now let's talk about some styling elements on this car before starting this video review. If you see the front end of the car, you'll notice that this grille is really big. Well, it's not really a very huge grille, it's only till here. This is the lamps unit, which has been nicely integrated, and they've been coated with a color which resembles the grille, but of course you need strong LEDs to switch them on, and once you switch them on, they do make the car stand out from a sea of other large SUVs out there. The lower end of the bumper is also very well sculpted, and you can see a lot of sensors. There's a sensor here, sensor over there, there's a camera over here, and also radars, because this car, remember, comes with ADAS level 2 technology, which basically means that it's a very safe car. So you of course get lane mitigation warning, you get adaptive cruise control, a lot of other things on this car to make it very safe and secure for your family. But we'll talk about those things a little later. Let me show you the side profile of the car now. From the side, you can see that if you take a close look at this point, there's a cut over here, and you might say, is that for design? It's not just for design, it's actually an air vent. It's a scoop of air vent, and it actually does throw out air over here from the top of the tire, or front of the tire rather. And the square out wheel arch also is quite a nice and stylish design. You get 18-inch alloy wheels with 235 section tires, and the side profile, again, if you look at it from a distance, if you go a little back from here, you can see that there are lots of creases, multiple creases over here, multiple lines over here, and a raising waistline as well. So it gives you a very muscled up look. It's a very muscular looking car from the side profile. One good point before we go ahead, I like to highlight is that the door sill, the door at the outside, the door sill is covered completely from this large door, which basically means that in case it's raining, this portion will not get soiled. So when you're jumping out and getting inside the car, you will not soil your trousers. That's something which shows the attention to detail that Hyundai has paid on this new Tucson. That's something great. At the back, if you follow me, you'll see roof rails and slightly curving roof line. It's a very small slope, but it's there. It's not very prominent, and that also gives it a very nice and angled look. Again, lots of cuts and creases. The back end is a thing of beauty on this car. It really is something which is very fascinating to look at. If you see the back end of the car, you'll see these tail lamps, which are very striking, and they're blackened out. They have that effect when you light them up. All these portions do light up, but from a distance it looks completely blackened out. Of course, this big bar of light connecting these two tail lamps, and the beautiful part about the car is that the Hyundai logo is hidden behind the windscreen over here. If you see from close up, you'll see that it's not outside, it's completely behind this. So that looks very cool. And you might be asking, where's the wash wipe? Well, it's hidden over here just below the emergency brake, the third brake light. It's hidden over here very neatly. So that's also something very good. Now, since we are at the back of the car, I'll just show you the bottom end of the car, a diffuser like design, and the exhausts have been hidden away to make it look like a very clean silhouette. So that's something good. Let me just show you the boot of the car as well. Well, I'm sure by now all of you are aware that Woodmo are the online expert when it comes to spare parts, and the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a large generation model, even then they have the spare part available. They have the entire catalog, and the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. Apart from all that, you of course get multiple driving modes where you can choose from Eco, Sport, as well as normal mode. You of course get hill descent assist, hill climb assist, auto hold function, electric parking brake, 360 camera, which really has very good definition. You check it over here, you can see the definition is very high. A lot of other cars, the definition is pretty low, but not on this car. As you can see, very high definition. That's something very good. And of course, you get cooled as well as heated front seats, which is really a first for a car at this price point in this segment, and lots of places to keep your odds and ends. One big tray over here where you can of course keep a lot of stuff, couple of big beverage holders over here, and you have these adjusters over here, so if you have a big cup from barista or maybe a small one, they won't be spilling around. Wireless charging for mobile phone, place to keep your key, and of course, big place to store your bottles in the door bin. So lots of cubby holes right across the car. And of course, even the glove box is nice and big. And of course, you saw there, it opens up in a nice and soft manner like it does on all luxury cars. And of course, everybody's favorite feature, a panoramic sunroof, which can be opened using the voice commands. Open the sunroof.
Opening the sunroof.
And of course, you can use the voice commands for a lot of other features as well, like the air conditioning, music, which station you want, an FM and stuff like that. So voice command also is something which you can use. Seat comfort is generally very good. Very nice seats, very sumptuous to sit in. Nice side bolsters as well. And of course, this little chrome over here gives this car that added feeling of luxury, more luxury than it is. Cabin definitely feels nice and airy, especially with this roof open. And before I forget, there's another very good feature in this car, and that of course is the Bose sound system with its 8-speaker setup. It's fantastic to listen to and really one of the best systems on any car across segments. What I think of the interiors? Well, after all that praise, it's a full score of 10 out of 10. Now let's jump in the back seat and see how good that really is. Well, let me jump in the back seat now and show you the aperture of this area. It's a wide opening door, and the entry point also is quite large, which means that if you have older parents at home or even kids at home, they'll just slide in and slide out. They won't have to, crouch and get in the car. It's a high side car as well. Now, this seat has been adjusted for someone who will be about 5'7". So a passenger or a driver are those 5'7", and a passenger is about 5'10" like me. Very comfortable to sit in. Now, why 5'7"? Because that's the average height of Indians. That's the average height with their shoes on. So 5'7". And of course, if you want your chauffeur to be taller, if you have a taller person who's driving your car, 5'10" like me, then I've adjusted this seat for that. And you can see that for someone who's about 5'10", let me just adjust the backrest over here. And as you can see, for someone who's 5'10" in the front and at the back, there's still plenty of place. Front seat has been raised up, so I can keep my feet over there. And easily you can accommodate large adults in this seat. Very roomy place to be in, very spacious, and it has a nice feel-good factor about itself. The quality of materials, the design, the overall layout, everything feels fantastic. And of course, you have an armrest over here. If you're only traveling with two, you can take it out and sit like the boss. And of course, AC vents as well as two USB charging points as well to keep your not laptops or your mobile devices completely charged all the time. Overall, a fantastic place to be in. Full marks to Hyundai for getting so much space in the second row of the Tucson. Now, we've seen the boot, we've seen the front end, we've talked about the features. Let's take this car out for a spin and see how it is to drive. Well, in today's video, we've seen that the Tucson is very comfortable in terms of the seating. It's feature loaded and it's also very stylish, but the big question is, how is it to drive? And I have good news for you. That news is that even in terms of the driving bits, the Tucson is a very good package. Now, Hyundai has tuned this car more towards the side of comfort, and SUVs usually aren't considered sports cars, or they don't give you that kind of handling. But the Tucson has got reasonable amount of fun for the discerning car lover, and someone who calls himself a keen driver will definitely enjoy the experience because the steering wheel is engaging enough. The ride comfort is the big highlight of the package. It's a fantastic car for ride comfort, and no matter what kind of surface you're driving on, the ride of this car is always very comfortable, very corsetting. And a big part of that is because of the wheelbase. It's really got a very long wheelbase, much longer than the previous version of the Tucson, and also that wide section 235 section tires on the car, which really do help it eat up all those bumps and patches on the road. So there's very little undulations which enter the cabin. It's really the sharpest of sharp crevices, the really bad ones, which might jolt you a bit. But other than that, all those rumble strips, all those crevices, all those patch roads, everything is taken in stride. So really, that's the big highlight of this car. Apart from that, all the ADAS features work really well. We've got lane keep assist switched on, and adaptive cruise control is also on, and collision warning system is also on, and this car really is working, and lots of warnings are coming up. The blind spot assist also, the red light comes up in the side view mirrors, so that's also working quite well. And of course, if you drive in Indian conditions where there's a lot of traffic, most of you might like to keep the systems off, because you might say, well, every 5 seconds the system is intruding into my driving style, but really these systems are meant to keep you safe, and they're just doing their job. So even if some other car reviewers might tell you, or YouTubers might tell you that these systems are working overtime, it is for your own safety, and according to our conditions they will work overtime, because there's a lot of traffic and a lot of people don't follow the rules, but these systems actually do work quite well. Now remember, this car comes with two options in terms of the engines. You get a diesel 2-litre and a petrol. The diesel is the more powerful unit, and the petrol one is also there for people who don't drive extensively, who keep within city limits or drive only 40-50 kilometers daily. So you have two options over there. What you will like, of course, on both the engines, whichever one you choose, is the sheer refinement levels. Yes, when I started off the diesel in the morning, I couldn't recognize the diesel. I had to look at the rev counter, and when I saw that the red line was at about 4,500 RPM, that's when I realized that it is a diesel and not a petrol. It is so quiet, and Hyundai's common rail engines have always been known to be very refined, very smooth, and it's no different with the Tucson. There's a little bit of lag. There's a little bit of lag below 1,800 RPM, 1,700 RPM, but once you cross that figure, power is available. The bucket loads, there's a wave of torque available, and the best point is that you get an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Yes, no 6 or 7 speed, but an 8-speed automatic, which means that the flexibility of the engine is greatly enhanced on the highway. When you are doing speeds in excess of 100 kph, the engine is spinning at a relatively low 1,500, 1,600 RPM, and of course if you're doing 120, even then it's about 2,000 RPM, which makes the cabin very quiet. And the good part about the cabin is that it's very well cocooned from the world outside. Whatever's happening on the outside stays outside, and the cabin feels like a very well and nicely isolated place. So that's something which also a lot of buyers will really enjoy, because these luxury cars, the premium SUVs, really are all about opulence, and in that department the Tucson really does do very well. It's a fantastic product in all those things. As I said, the overall steering response is good. It's quite accurate, it's well weighed, and when you're driving the city, it's quite light. On the highway it does weigh a little bit more when you exceed speeds of 80 kph, and the gearbox also works flawlessly. It's very quick responding. The only thing is that I would have preferred to have paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. You can still shift gears or use them manually by doing the stick to the right, but as I said, I would have really appreciated this car to come with paddle shifters. That would have really made the driving experience a bit more engaging than it already is. So overall, quite a good package to drive. Refinement levels are good, and I think that anyone who calls himself enthusiast will also have relatively decent amount of fun. This is a big and bulky SUV. It's a long SUV. It's a big SUV, so don't expect it to handle like a compact hatchback or a hatchback or any other car which is smaller, but it delivers in terms of the looks, it delivers in terms of road presence, features, safety, comfort. So these are things which a lot of people really will appreciate about the Hyundai Tucson. If you are planning to buy the petrol motor, that's also quite refined. It's silky smooth as well, and it comes with a 6-speed automatic, not an 8-speed one like this. That's the only difference, but otherwise power delivery and smoothness as well as responsiveness is quite good on the petrol. It's the same engine which also does duty on the Alcazar, the petrol one. So it's a tried and tested engine, and definitely an engine which is very good in those departments as well. In terms of driving bits, I'll give this car a strong score of 92 out of 100. It really is a very strong package, and definitely I've enjoyed driving this car all day long. Well, so overall, what is my verdict with the new Hyundai Tucson? I have to say that if you're in the market for a luxury SUV, you have this kind of budget around with you, then definitely this car has everything to offer. It offers you a very premium interior, it offers you a very exhaustive list of features, and it also offers you very striking and bold looks on the outside. That's not enough for you, then it offers you a very engaging driving experience as well. And it's a fantastic car in terms of the overall assurance that you get, because Hyundai's badge means that you get excellent after sales, excellent warranty packages, and excellent servicing network right across the length and breadth of India. This Tucson isn't just any car, it is a new benchmark in the SUV segment. So bye for now, and thanks so much for watching.